Public Health in collaboration with the Center of Research, Obafemi Awolowo University. So first of all, to welcome our distinguished participants, we welcome the Vice Chancellor, we welcome the DVC academics, we welcome the DVC Research and Innovation, we welcome the Provost of the College, we welcome the Provost of PG School, we welcome the Dean of Basic Clinical Sciences, we welcome the Dean of Basic Medical Sciences, the Dean of Dentistry, the Director Center of Research, the Director of the Institute of Cultural Studies, we welcome the Director of the Institute of Ecology and Environmental Studies, we welcome the Director of IFET, welcome our own chairman, OAU HREC, welcome the chairman of OAU THC, welcome the heads of the departments present and all professors present, and welcome all other colleagues and participants on this call. We are here for a great time and we appreciate your presence and the time you have spent to join this webinar. Thank you. Over to my director, Professor Simai.
Good morning, everybody. Who want to join? Vice Chancellor, Research and Innovation, the Provost of the College of Health Sciences, Provost of Postgraduate School, College, the Dean of Local Sciences, Dean of Basic Medical, Dean of Basic Clinical, Dean of Dentistry, and also directors that are present. Director of Institute of Cultural Studies, Director of IFET, Director of Institute of Ecology and Environmental Studies, and the Director of Central Office of Research, and also the chair of our OAU REC, and then our invited speaker, who is the chairman of OATC and staff committee, our colleagues and participants. It's my great honor and privilege to welcome you all to this webinar as we commemorate the World Ethics Awareness Day. Today, March 2nd, 2026. This occasion provides us with a valuable opportunity to reflect critically on the place of ethics in our professional and academic environments. Ethical principles remain fundamental, the advancement of knowledge, strengthening of institutions, and promotion of justice and equity in society. In academic and professional settings, ethics serves as a guiding framework for responsible conduct. It shapes the way we generate knowledge, engage in research, interact with colleagues and communities, and deliver services. Ethical practice ensures credibility, promotes public trust, and safeguards the dignity and rights of individuals and communities. This year, observance provides a valuable opportunity for us to reflect on a subject that is central to academic and scientific advancement. And today, we're having the topic Scientific Research Integrity and Responsive Conduct of Research to commemorate this World Ethics Awareness Day. In an era where knowledge generation plays a critical role in societal development, integrity of scientific research has become more important than ever. Research integrity forms the foundation of credible and trustworthy science. It ensures knowledge generated through scientific inquiry is reliable, reproducible, and beneficial to society. Within academic institutions such as ours and other research environments, adherence to ethical standards in research is essential for maintaining public trust and promoting excellence. For this reason, continuous education and awareness on ethics or research ethics remains essential. Today's webinar provides an opportunity for us to reflect on our individual and collective responsibilities as researchers and scholars. It challenges us to uphold the principles of integrity, objectivity, fairness, and accountability in all aspects of our research activities. It is my hope that the deliberations today will deepen our understanding of research ethics and strengthen our commitment to ethical scientific practice. To do justice to our topic is Professor Benga Ayola, a scholar, active researcher, professor and consultant radiologist, and the chair of the Research and Ethics Committee of Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital Campus. Once again, I warmly welcome you all and thank you for being part of this important event. I wish us a productive and enlightening World Ethics Awareness Day celebration. Thank you.
Good afternoon to everyone. I am Professor Oluwagbemiga Ayola, the chair of the Ethics and Research Committee at the.
Prof, sir, please hold on, sir. We'll call you back shortly.
Okay. All right. Okay.
The next item on the agenda is the remarks by the chairman of OAU REC, the remarks by the OAU REC. Represented by Professor Morenike. You have the call, ma. You have the floor, ma. She's there. Yes, the host will mute. Mr. Tobiloba, please unmute Professor Morenike so she can speak to us.
You can unmute. Prof, you can unmute, ma.
Prof, ma, please go ahead.
Hello, please. Good afternoon. Good morning. Prof is currently not on seat. Should respond shortly.
Okay, so the next is remarks by the director. Director COR, please go ahead, sir. Professor Odu, are you on the call, sir? I don't think, let me check.
Speak. Yeah, hello. Yeah. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah. Yeah. Can I speak?
Go ahead, sir.
Can I speak now?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I just want to acknowledge the good work that the IPH is doing. I want to thank the director, Professor Esimai, for putting up this meeting just to create awareness in the university community that ethics is something that we need to adapt to as a university and ensure that we all play by the rules. So I don't have much to say because my DVC is here. So maybe we have to say something later. But I think it's the best thing that we get people aware of what is going on in our environment and ensure and let them know that for every of their research, they need to get the certificates so that in the process of, doing the research and then at the end publishing whatever outcome they are not embarrassed in as they be requested to submit a clearance. So they need to process that document and ensure that they have it in their hands so as to present once they are requested to, to present it once they want to publish. So I just want to thank you for putting up this, and I wish everyone well as we listen to this presentation from different people. Thank you. Over.
Thank you very much for that, sir, for that warm introduction. So GBC, sir, please, you have the floor to give us your remarks. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Again, let me join others who have made remarks to appreciate the Director of Institute of Public Health, Professor Puju Esimai, for putting this together, and also to appreciate those who have worked behind the scene to ensure this. Just again to follow with what the Director of University Research Office just mentioned, that ethics is the fundamental issues that bind us together as researchers, and that is also what's earned us the respect we have among ourselves, and also the respect that the world has for us, because we are guided by very strong ethical principles. So again, it's just to say that this is the right thing to do, and I hope we have a lot of people who join this.
Very much for that, sir. Okay, so Provost College of Health Sciences, please give us your remarks, ma.
Platform. Again, thank you so much.
I'm sorry for cutting you, sir. I thought you were done speaking. I'm so sorry for cutting you, sir. Okay, so Provost College of Health Sciences, if you're on the call, ma, please give us your remarks. So Provost Postgraduate College, please give us your remarks, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon,
I
sir.
recognize the Vice Chancellor in absentia and my DVC Research, Innovation and Development. Thank you for the brief but powerful remark. I want to recognize the Director of IPH, the Chairman OAU REC, and all other protocols. I stand on the established protocols. Thank you. Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues and participants, as the Provost of the Postgraduate College, OAU, I'm honored to give this brief remark at this webinar on World Ethics Awareness Day celebration, focusing on scientific research integrity culture in responsible conduct of research. As we gather today virtually, we recognize the pivotal role that research plays in shaping our world. However, this far comes with a responsibility to uphold the highest standards of ethics and integrity. Research integrity is the foundation upon which trust, credibility, and progress are built. As we well know, the key principles guiding responsible research conduct include respect for persons, beneficence and non-maleficence, and justice. Now, these principles are the principles that the IPH, led by the Director, Professor Owe Esimai, and our team of dedicated and dynamic experts have been pursuing with passion for several years. I am particularly glad to have been a member of the IPH Ethics Committee for more than a decade. And even now, the postgraduate college that I am privileged to be provost of is committed to the same goals. To promote a culture of integrity, we must continue to prioritize transparency, accountability, and collaboration. This includes providing training and resources for researchers, such as what we're having today, and fostering open communication. Therefore, as we celebrate this year's World Ethics Awareness Day, let us commit to upholding these principles and fostering a research environment that values integrity, respect, and responsibility. Thank you very much and enjoy the lecture. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome, sir. Okay, so ma, Chairman OAU REC, you have the floor, ma. Please go ahead and give us your remarks. Professor Pakus, are you on the call, ma? Professor Okong. Professor Okong, are you on the call, ma?
Hello.
No, go ahead, ma. Please go ahead, ma.
Apologies. Good morning or good afternoon. Sorry, good afternoon, everyone. This is on behalf of Professor Fatusi, who is unavoidably absent. She notes that the topic of research integrity, which is very well seated beyond the handling of the ethics committee, but seated with the Central Office of Research, is a major issue. To note also that the university has a policy around research integrity that otherwise every staff should be aware of, knowing that awareness of the policy allows for objectivity in determining wrong and right and the consequences of this action. Also to note that one of the things the Institute of Public Health Ethics Committee will be doing is sensitizing university members about its own activities, but also enlightening people on the issues of research integrity. On that note, I'd like to say thank you and welcome every participant. We know that there are just 42, but we're hoping that you'll share with your colleagues and also invite them to participate. Thank you once again and welcome. Over.
Thank you very much for that, ma. So now with it. Yeah. So ma, she's going to take the citation of the guest speaker now.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be reading a short citation of our distinguished speaker, Professor Oluwagbemiga Ayola, who was a MBCHB FMCL MD, and also a professor of radiology at Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital Complex, Ile-Ife, Nigeria. He's also a consultant radiologist at the Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital Complex and professor of radiologist at Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nigeria. He's widely recognized for his pioneering contributions to medical imaging research, particularly in Doppler ultrasonography, vascular and musculoskeletal ultrasound, and imaging in sickle cell disease and atherosclerotic vascular disorders. Beyond his academic and clinical expertise, Professor Ayola currently serves as the chairman of the Research and Ethics Committee at OAU-TAC, where he provides oversight and guidance for health research, strengthening ethical compliance and governance in biomedical studies. With numerous publications and a strong commitment to radiology training and capacity building, he continues to inspire excellence in medical education, research, and ethical practice. Join me to welcome Professor Oluwagbemiga Ayola as the distinguished speaker for today's webinar.
Thank you very much for that intro. I would say I'm highly honored to have been selected to take this topic. I didn't consider myself worthy, especially speaking to people like Professor Esemai, Professor Folayan. But I'll say this is a very key topic in ethics. In fact, I'll say when you talk about the cardinal topics in ethics, this is it. And the title as it's displayed before us is Scientific Research, Integrity, Culture in Responsible Conduct of Research. Before going on, I'd like to start off with a story. Even from the caption of this title, we can, I guess many of us being researchers would be able to envisage what I'm going to talk about. But I will start off with a true story. All right. Back in I think it was 97, 98, there was an anti-malarial drug that was on the market then. The name was Halfan. Now, I loved this drug a lot. It had all the advantages. I mean, for me personally, it was not like chloroquine, which I used to react to, but was the only anti-malarial drug that I used to respond to then. And when Alvan came out, it came out as a miracle drug to me because anytime I used it, I wouldn't even remember I had malaria. I took it, I prescribed it, a lot. And then one day I just found out this drug was off the market. I said, what's going on? Where's Halfan? Where's Halfan? And then later on, I got to discover it had been withdrawn. Why? Because of the side effects and the complications that arose from taking the drug. A senior official of the university then who took the drug reacted to it and then subsequently died from the use of the drug. And the question I asked afterwards was this: was this drug subjected to the rigors of research? Did it go through all the stages it ought to have gone through before it was released into the market? Because it wasn't just this fellow alone that many other people developed complications from the use of the drug. All right. So when it comes to research integrity, from my end, it has to be taken seriously, because if it's not taken seriously, it can lead to lots of lives. Having said this, I'll continue. Okay, right. Okay, right. Oh my gosh. Can we hear me? Okay. Is everyone with me? Hello?
Yes, we are.
Okay, you are. Okay, good. So I start off with the key word. The key word in the
Yes, sir,
title
we
is
can hear
integrity.
you.
Yeah, okay. I'll start off with defining the key word. The key word in the title is integrity. Integrity. And what is integrity? Is the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. Quality. Underline the word honest. Anything you're going to do it honestly in research. Right from the planning to the final publication and even post-publication. All right. If somebody runs, say, for example, a clinical trial, and they find out that this drug is safe to use for a particular kind of infection, and if after publication you find out there's a particular side effect that the drug, you have the responsibility to involve the public. It's not just about the way many of us, the reason why many people don't consider the word integrity is because of their motivation. People come into academia, and what they think is, how do I get to be professor so fast? And on the journey to becoming a professor, they don't care who they destroy in the process. Then the next two terms we're going to consider morals and ethics. What is morals? Morals are personal beliefs about right and wrong, while ethics are rules or principles established by a group or a society to guide behavior. I'll give an example of what I'm trying to say. Now, in Africa, all right, or in Nigeria, let me put in Nigeria, law permits that a man can marry up to 3, 4 wives, all right? For some people, they only believe in one wife. That'll be considered moral. Some people, my own personal conviction is one man, one wife. Another person is one man, 4 wives. Those are morals. But when it comes to ethics, it involves society. Nigerian society accepts it. But if you go to a place like the United States, and some places in the West, it's not permitted. You can't say by law that you are going to take 4 wives. All right, you'll be labeled as you'll be guilty of bigamy if you went ahead to do that in some nations. All right. Then coming finally, what is scientific integrity? I will simply define it. It's the ethical, honest, and rigorous conduct of research across its entire life cycle. Note, entire life cycle. All right, this includes post-publication, ensuring trustworthiness and accountability. Okay. Now, historical concept. Let me just talk about historical concept of context of research integrity. Back before the 70s, people barely used to talk about ethics. In fact, issues raising ethical concerns has stemmed from reports from slave trade era. All right. Doctors then, I remember the case of one of the stories I heard. A doctor then wanted to subject Black people to, I think she wanted to know how much of pain, how high the level of pain threshold people, I mean, some of them Black slaves could endure before they finally passed out. All right. So she subjected a series of Black men to pain just to answer a question. All right. So before the 70s, all right, there had been a lot of unethical issues. It was in the 70s that it started coming to light. Is what you're doing right? Is it fair? Is it just? Are you biased? All right. So the concept was in late 70s. It was then that formal codes of conduct were developed with the aim of promoting ethical standards afterwards. And you have key international documents like European Code of Conduct for Research Integrity and Singapore Statement on Research Integrity were developed at the time. There's other organizations, namely Center for Disease Control and the United States Department of Agriculture, along with the National Science Foundation. Why should we care about research integrity? A lot has been said. The story I gave in the beginning is a key one, but let's break down reasons why we have to care about research integrity. This stems from medicine to agriculture, every angle of science. But the thing is, as a radiologist, I'm talking from my own point of view. The agriculturists too will have their own angle. All right. So research integrity. First reason, research integrity safeguards the foundation of science as hypotheses are validated through experimentation. The achievements of research have been built over centuries. Now, the truth is, I don't have any information about when research started, but research has been on for centuries. People have got to believe in scientific research, and a lot of work has been put into it. Our reinforcing integrity helps to preserve the confidence of people in our scientific results and scientific research. So this is something we have to safeguard. This has been something that has been researched, scientific research has been on for 70. We need to protect what our forefathers have done over the centuries. It must not go to waste. All right. And secondly, research integrity maintains public confidence in researchers and research evidence. All right. When we have people that are police guarding research at every level, what it does is, because the thing is, some of the things we are trying to do through our research is to give information as to what is correct to the public. All right. I am a radiologist right now. I conduct research in radiology. The agriculturist conducts research in agriculture. The scientist, the person in biological sciences, conducts research in his area. All right. And the thing is, when we complete our research, we're required to publish. All right. It is what we publish, the public reads. And the public, because they are also our consumers, they need to be informed aright. All right. Public confidence is extremely important. I'll give you an example. Like, this is an experience that I also had. This happened to my mom's immediate junior sister. So it's a case close to, she's dead now. She's been dead for about 5 years, but she had breast cancer. All right. And when she was diagnosed, she didn't tell the whole family. It was just her immediate family she told. And by the time the whole extended family got to know, she had already gone through surgery and chemotherapy. And she came out all well. And she was managed very well. And then 5 years later, the cancer recurred. and she was advised to go back on chemotherapy, and she said no. I didn't try to find out why, but after she died, her daughter told me something. Her daughter said, well, after she went through chemo the first time, she came out successful. Um, she was approached by some of her doctors, right? And approached by some of her doctors to encourage some other people that were not they were skeptical about going in for chemotherapy. She approached, they told her, and she chose to encourage those people to go in for chemotherapy. But unfortunately, both of the people that she advised reacted to the drug and they died. All right. And from then on, her confidence in research, in ethical clinical practice got shattered because she thought, based on her own experience, she had a good experience with chemotherapy that everybody would. She wasn't told that some people could react. So, in her own view, her conscience, I mean, she had her conscience. She felt so guilty that she was a party to something she did not like. All right. So research integrity, but if she had been informed, the issue is don't go for chemotherapy, but you are informed adequately of the side effects and what you're doing. All right. We help to maintain public and confidence in these areas. Thirdly, research integrity ensures consistency in public funding of research. Now, this is extremely vital. I don't, this some of Nigerians may not appreciate it out this much, but the thing is, in the West, a lot of people come up. Maybe their parents that died of a lot of rich people. All right, philanthropists come up. They had a relative that died of a particular disease, and they say, "Okay, I'm going to fund science." All right, so that they will get to the bottom of this disease. They will find a cure for this disease. So the thing is, they release funding and they expect that the funds be used with utmost care and concern and to preserve the purpose for which they're giving the funds. All right. So to preserve this funding, we have to maintain research integrity. All right. We build public trust and we maintain public funding, public funding of research, which is extremely critical. Every one of us knows that research requires a high degree of funding. All right. So that's very key. Then fourthly, research integrity promotes the reputation and the careers of researchers. All right. Let's take, for example, a researcher comes up and finds out the cure for cancer again, which is undisputable. The reputation and the careers of the researchers are enhanced. All right. But the thing is, research integrity has to be maintained. The issue is not in using potentially lethal drugs, but in disclosure, honesty. All right. Then fifthly, research integrity prevents adverse impact on patients and public. All right. Adverse impact on patients and public. I'll give you an example. If somebody is running a clinical trial, like for example, there's one clinical trial that's on now. It's on I think breast cancer, oncology. All right. And a patient died from the use of one of the patients the recurrent study died from the use of the drug. But we have to consider some other sides. A lot of patients has used that drug in the clinical trial and they had positive outcome. But for this patient, it was the responsibility of the researcher to report to the ethics committee. And also even if the researcher is considering such information, the ethics committee, through research integrity, should have the power and right to review the data from such sensitive studies and obtain regular updates. This is just to protect protect the patients and the public. Because if they say, if a research trial is being done, a clinical trial is being conducted, and you recorded too much of adverse reactions, it can be any drug, doesn't just have to be oncology, it can even be in infection in treating infectious diseases. All right, with antibiotics, and an antibiotic has just been introduced in the market, and what you do is during the clinical trial, a strong oversight has to put such that if too many reactions or too many adverse reactions occur, the research should be considered to be ceased from there. This is just to protect patients, because once patients and the public start to get to know that, okay, there's one clinical trial that's on in this particular institution and too many people are dying, they lose confidence in research. Then the next time they come and somebody wants to conduct, a researcher wants to conduct a clinical trial, what they are likely to say, sorry, I'm not going to be a part of this. Why? Because of the recall, the information. And you have to, the other thing I tell people is it's important for the scientific community to communicate the reports directly instead of the patients instead of putting the patients in the blind and allowing them to speculate as to what's going on. We have to be open, we have to be honest with patients and the public. Research integrity also promotes economic advancement. Let's take, for example, right now, I mean, a lot of GDP is being, Nigeria's GDP is still, it's rising, and this can be attributed not only to oil, but also from agricultural products. All right, people are conducting research into oil palms, cashews, cocoa, and these are things that can help to advance economic prospects of a nation. And then research integrity also prevents avoidable waste in resources. All right. You've through research, you found out a drug. You found out that a drug has potential side effects. If another study elsewhere wants to try out the drug, you can prevent the center from wasting their resources by your own report. Oh, we've tested this drug before and we found out that it causes harm. And so we advise you not to waste your resources in that line and that direction. You can look into something else. All right. So having said that, what are the core principles of research integrity? The first is honesty. That was laid down in the of others. All right. Your data must be well reported. All right. Honesty. Then rigor is very scrupulous care and excellence in practice. It has scientific research can be rigorous. All right. In fact, it should be rigorous because the thing is, you have to do some things repeatedly so as to build your confidence. It's after getting the same results over and over. Like, for example, if somebody came up with a solution to a crisis like a pandemic, like we had during COVID, all right, came up with a solution. There's other research institutes, 4 or 5 other institutes that are coming out with the similar results to that primary research institute. Then the confidence of the public will be enhanced. But the thing is rigorous for several centers to be putting a lot of resources together to come up with results. Then transparency. Open communication regarding methods, data, and potential conflicts of interest. All right. This is just appropriate and it helps the community. No study, as we know, is perfect. All right. No study is perfect. There could be lapses in selection. Hello? Can we background noise? Can we take care of that background noise, please? Okay, thank you. All right. So, accountability. Sorry, I was at transparency, open communication regarding methods, data, and potential conflicts of interest. All right. These are things that are extremely important. No study, as I say, is perfect, but it is important not to portray that study as perfect when you know it is not. Whatever flaws are in that study, either with methods, your data collection, and then potential conflicts of interest. These are things that must be revealed to the public so that the public has a lot more. It doesn't help for the public to find out information that you have to that you should have disclosed to the public behind your backs. Okay, thank you. So open communication is extremely important. Then accountability, taking responsibility for the conduct and the reporting of research, including the management of funds and supervision of trainees. All right, it is important to be accountable. If you made an error somewhere, it's important to disclose it. You have to be accountable. There has to be oversight, even over the most senior of researchers. It's important there's oversight because there are potential. I mean, people can get corrupted anytime. There can be potential conflicts of interest. So there has to be a structure in place as to as to as to as to be accountable to show that this research was done under proper accountability. All right. And we have objectivity, striving for impartiality and ensuring that personal beliefs or external pressures do not bias research findings. All right. Researchers can have their personal conviction. A researcher has worked on a particular drug or a particular method all his life, and he just believes that this must, I mean, and maybe say worked on a drug for a particular kind of infection and he's worked on it for 20 years. And at the last lab, he finds out that this drug can potentially have some effects because he's worked and he spent a lot of resources over 20 years. Many people don't want to openly be they don't want to be scrutinous. All right. He doesn't want to be said that what he's done over the last 20 years will be thrown into dustbin. So the thing is, there has to be objectivity. There has to be a structure in place to ensure that there's objectivity and somebody's personal beliefs or external pressure by whatever bodies, like say pharmaceutical bodies, to not cause bias. All right. It's so easy for people to respond to pressure, and people as scientists actually have, all right, and they've published in the greatest of journals, including journals like New England Journal of Medicine, all right. Then we have respect, caring for research participants, colleagues, and environment, and the scientific record, all right. A number of researchers don't respect patients. Some of them don't even collect consent. They just come and they just present the idea of research as we're the ones doing the participants, a favor. There has to be respect for participants. The participants have to know what they are being subjected to, and the participants deserve to know the outcome of your study. So is respect and care for participants, colleagues, and the environment. It's extremely important in research because when we respect our colleagues and our patients, all right, or subjects, they are more likely to want to participate the next time around. All right. Okay. So how do we deal with breaching research integrity? All right. Research misconduct, the most serious. So that would be, these are just some of the things that people do. You have fabrication, which is making up data. There's a particular YouTube channel. I watched a YouTube video about some research misconducts, and you'll be surprised that studies that have been published in New England Journal of Medicine, some of their data were fabricated. There was one case, I mean, this was a researcher. He was busy collecting data. At the same time, he was fabricating data. And when he was because I was just trying to save time. So it's fabrication, it's falsification. You've actually obtained, this researcher has obtained all his data, reported them with a spreadsheet, but because maybe because he now analyzes and then the results don't match what he expected to get, he now starts changing data. Falsification, and then plagiarism is appropriating others' work. I mean, just quoting other people as if you are the ones that actually came up with that finding. All right. So these are things that are extremely serious and they can cost people's lives. Falsifying information costs lives. Yep. Right. And then there are other questionable research practices, also called detrimental research practices. These occupy a gray zone. Examples include selective reporting of results. You want to, there are some people that just present an angle of the results because they want to see some things from a particular light and they don't balance up with the overall picture. All right. And poor data management. All right. Are you just getting anybody that's I mean someone that doesn't implication of knowing of implication of filling spreadsheet. I remember there was one time I was extremely young. Well, I think I had just finished my WAEC then, and I participated then. What we used to do was we used to code on this sheet, and so I mean, they recruited about 20 of us, and a number of people there were carelessly coding, and they made a lot of errors. All right. So there are questionable research practices. There are questionable research practices. So having said this, what are institutional and systemic roles in maintaining research integrity? And you have institutions. Institutions have the responsibility to provide a supportive environment with clear guidelines, robust training and and um, and methods for reporting revenue mechanisms, and then methods for whistleblowing if you have a breach. All right. It is institutions where you have research offices, ethical offices that are responsible for this. All right. Then you have funders. Funders play a key role also in enforcing integrity policies and rewarding quality over quantity. The funders, all right, if we do research, all right, and then if you have a very strict funder, like say an actor, an actress, a public figure, all right, that's if it has philanthropistic tendencies, all right. What the funder should do is if he is able to confirm a breach in integrity, he can withdraw. All right. The funders have the responsibility. So you have institutional responsibility, funders responsibility. Funders should not fund research in which they cannot verify the integrity of research. Then we have journals. Journals should act as gatekeepers through peer review, plagiarism detection checks, and the use of retractions to correct scientific records. I don't know. Journals are extremely key in this because but the thing is, the problem we have also in Nigeria is asking people that are not experts in a field and an area to help you ask them to review areas they are not competent in. All right, this is extremely critical. I as a researcher, I receive invitations to review, and sometimes when I open the link, I see the titles. Why did you select me? I think I have my publications online, enough publications online for you to know what I manuscript to the person they deem to be best, not somebody that is well published but not competent in that area. All right. And then we don't retract formally in journals in Nigeria. I'm not too sure I've heard of a retraction, but the thing is, if research integrity is well maintained and a journal finds out that information in a publication of theirs was falsified or fabricated, the journal has the responsibility to notify their readers that that particular article has been retracted. We notify, email them, do public ads on that. This paper, particular paper published so date, title so by so has been retracted, and the necessary punitive measures should be measured out on such so on the authors. Now, there's another area which I deem to be extremely critical, especially for senior researchers. Senior researchers' role as mentor in maintaining researchers' integrity. We have a lot of senior researchers on this panel. Sometimes, and we have to admit to ourselves, we're asked to supervise more candidates than we can handle. And the question I ask myself, sometimes I'm asked to review a paper and I see the supervisor's name, I read through the work and say, did this person, are you sure this fellow couldn't have, this supervisor couldn't have read through this work? He wouldn't approve of this. All right. But the thing is, workload is heavy. I don't know how we balance that with search integrity, but the thing is, these are some things that extremely important. So the thing is, a leader, all right, research leader has the responsibility to actively demonstrate high ethical standards in their own work. All right. The chances once somebody has been shown to have a high level of ethical standards, usually the students will watch it before they go to that researcher for supervision. All right, because all right. Also, senior researchers respond to review data periodically, conduct regular reviews of primary data with the team members, include experienced researchers to catch errors or manipulations early. There's also something I do when it comes to my residents. I mean, at my residents, all right, what I do is once they say, I try to find out how they are coming up with patient when it comes to patient recruiting patients or subjects. All right. And I ask them on a weekly basis, how many patients or subjects do you have right now? So, okay, first week they were able to recruit 5, and then second week, another 4. So I get an estimate of the amount they are able to recruit on a weekly basis, such that if a resident says week 2 he's recruited 10 patients, and then by week 3 it's now 50, there's reason for me to suspect and to review. All right. Did you just manipulate, come up with data? So close data review and study of the researchers, junior researchers, extremely critical in maintaining research integrity. And then also talk about this logistics, set realistic expectations with respect to timelines and commitments. We as senior researchers, since we've gone through the logistics of all the stages of research before, we know what we are capable of, and we should know our residents enough to know what they are capable of doing. All right. If a senior researcher is close enough to a student, a postgraduate student or a resident, they should be able to know the limitations. I tell some of my residents, about 3 of my residents that came up to me that they're saying, they came up and said they can do so. They came up with proposals. I told them, I know you well enough to know you cannot undertake this research. You have to prove me wrong. Even when they insisted, I said, okay, go ahead. And over the course of time, I said, yeah, I told you while writing the proposal, you can't do this. It's not because, I'm against you, but I know what you're capable of doing. You cannot cope with this. All right. So it's important as senior researchers that we have oversight and we advise and counsel our postgraduate students or residents appropriately. Clear communication is extremely important. We've talked about this earlier, openness, honesty, set explicit expectations for data storage, authorship order, and conduct during onboarding. All right, when you're about to be clear about it, be open about it, so there will be no conflicts of interest over the course of doing the study. Create a safe environment where mentees feel comfortable discussing dilemmas or mistakes without fear or negative reactions. This is extremely important. We have to make our students, our postgraduate students, have confidence in us. All right. Sometimes last week, one of my residents who's undertaking about 2 projects, I realized her started to become overburdened. All right. I was supervising one project, another lecturer who's senior, but junior to me, was supervising the other. And he was trying to enforce him to undertake some additional responsibility. I said, no, you are burdening him. All right. You are burdening this guy. And when you overburden him, he would break. And when he breaks, he wouldn't communicate with you because you are not being open enough. What you are trying to do is you are trying to enforce. What he has to do, the rigors he has to go through for both research processes are already heavy enough. He may not be able to take it. All right. So it's important to clearly be part. And then finally, we have active mentorship. It's important to actively mentor our residents and our postgraduate students to provide regular performance appraisals and guidance of career development to prevent win at all cost mentality that often leads to misconduct. Well, the contemporary challenges that lead to behavior research. Everybody says this publish or perish. Of coming into university environment, especially when you have hyper competition, like the number of publications, it can incentivize cutting corners. You focus on numbers too much, although it's not that we focus on number, but there has to be a balance. All right. So let's not put our junior colleagues under too much of undue pressure and encourage them communicate with time. And the truth is, for some departments, the kind of research programs they undertake may not have as lengthy timelines as some others do. It's important for us to note this. The reproducibility crisis, many studies cannot easily be replicated by other scientists. It's important to come up with a study, but the thing is, what will verify, what would authenticate the results of the study is by other researchers in other institutions that are not affiliated with yours to conduct similar research and then come out with results that are consistent with yours. We also have emerging threats, issues of paper mills, organizations that sell fake manuscripts just come up. We have a body that just come up and say there's a journal, they're a journal, and they say, oh, we publish. And then you have your researchers because they have low standards, just go and submit their publications to them. And you have right now, because of the advent of AI, you have a lot of unethical use of AI. I'm not saying it is wrong to use AI in research, but the thing is we have to disclose. There must be ethical use of research ethical use of AI in writing writing research papers. All right. Then I think this is my final slide. Peculiarities in Africa with regards to RI. I checked the internet, but the thing is, what they talk about in research integrity mainly borders on the problems encountered by Western nations. People don't give priority to Africa. But in my own experience, being chairman of the ethics committee over the last 2 years, we've had a lot of debates, a lot of conflicting opinions on issues that border around material, international material and data transfer. All right. There's the issue of, this is in medicine, and I'm sure other fields also experience it. What are the guidelines? Our primary aim, all right, is to protect our community, all right. And if we're not convinced for whatever reasons that our materials will be safe, then there's cause to rethink. There was a researcher that had an agreement with another researcher in North America. He agreed to send samples to him, and then he would return within a stipulated period of time. The researcher, I'm not sure till date, he crossed the timeline that was given to him. He was not shaken. He was not bothered to return. And as I say, I said we can have a barrage of guidelines and rules, but the thing is, once our people are not protected and our materials are used unethically, the community will blame us. The community will not blame rules and regulations. Data is also extremely important. And then we have clinical trials. I'm not sure there was a research that had to be aborted. It was approved by the United States, and it was on HPV vaccine. All right, HPV vaccine, the value of HPV vaccine has been proven over and over again, especially administering to neonates in the West. So they usually give neonates HPV vaccine at birth. And then they came up with the idea, okay, let's conduct a research to find out if this theory is true. Let's go to Africa. We select a group of children, we give them HPV vaccine, and then another group of neonates we don't give them. I mean, they couldn't conduct that in the West, and they now choose Guinea-Bissau. But the thing is, thank God there was a whistleblower, and the study has been called off. So the thing is, we have to realize that there are peculiarities that we face as Africans, and we don't get to know it sometimes until we're extremely vigilant and we ask questions that sometimes we are expected not to ask. All right. So here are my references, and thank you very much for listening to me. Okay. Hello. Hello. Um. Hello. Can we hear me? Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate your time and attention. Any?
Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you very much for that. I was so grateful for sharing with us your wealth of experience. Okay, so do we have questions from the floor?
Hello. Let me put. Okay.
Cherry, please, if we have questions, let's use the raise hand button.
So, thank you very much for that, for sharing with us from your word of experience. So many things were said, actually. Okay, so do we have questions from the floor? Do we have things, areas we need clarification? Does anyone have a question for Prof? Are there areas that are not as clear that we need him to clarify? Questions, comments from the participants? Okay, so I was saying that are there questions? So many things have been said, but then are there areas we need clarifications? Are there questions? Okay, so quickly, summarily, I said a lot of things, but just a quick one. We spoke about research integrity, how that it's important that as researchers, we should uphold the highest standard of integrity, not about research, and therefore we spoke about the fact that it's important that we communicate the results of our research. That's a strong one for me. It's important, it's not just enough to gather data from a community and then go away with the results, their data. It's important that we should also communicate the results of our findings to the community we have interviewed. That's a very important one. Please. Again, they also spoke about the fact that when we communicate the results of the data from our own research, the results from our own research, it prevents wastage. A lot of people just duplicate, keep repeating what some other persons have done because the data is not communicated clearly. So it's important that we also, to prevent resources being wasted, we communicate the findings of our research. Then it particularly emphasized upholding the core principles of research. That's very important. We shouldn't join to fabricate or falsify data as researchers, and of course, plagiarism issues and all. Cherry picking, that's another strong one. Kept saying that when you collect your data and then don't be selective in publishing, don't be selective in communicating the findings. Be honest enough to, to communicate clearly what you have found. So that's important too. And then finally, let's talk about challenges that are bound in the research community or in carrying out research. Spoke about publish perish culture, how that researchers become very desperate to to publish, even some of the times when they are publishing data that are not as correct. And then so a lot of things. And again, you spoke about challenges, peculiarity in Africa, material transfer, sir. And maybe I should just take this opportunity to also clarify or to ask for clarity on what you mean by material transfer. I didn't quite get that. Maybe my question will come, but then many other persons who have questions can come. So please,
Sorry,
you have the floor.
sorry. Okay, sorry. I was human material transfer. It can range from things like blood samples, commonly called blood samples, urine, fecal material, human tissue, biopsy tissue. Sorry, I didn't clarify on that. So, the problem with human material transfer, major fears that I'm concerned about, especially when it gets to international transfer. All right, intercontinental transfer is the issue of using materials as bioweapons. All right, we're getting into a stage and age right now in which people can create diseases to target a particular population of people. All right, particular population of people. So the thing is, if they intend to have if you're sending to a body that has ill intentions, all right, they can actually use the samples, human samples that you send to them to create a bioweapon that will eliminate a race of people. That's getting to be a possibility right now in science. So care has to be taken in transferring human material samples. Do you understand what I said? Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir. We have our profs raising their hands. Professor
Yeah, okay.
Femi Koya, you can unmute, sir. Prof, you can unmute, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Am I being heard?
Yeah, loud
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for the very beautiful presentation, very exhaustive. I think as a professional body, it might be necessary to provide guidelines, particularly for the emerging researchers in the field. What do we consider as a measure of journals that are reputable? Because we have all kinds of categorization out there. I know the most common is Behold sites, which I think is a little politicized. So it's high time that professionals will come up with guidelines so that what we call reputable journals may not be what some other people will say is non-reputable, particularly the local journals. So I just want to say that we need to give a bit of guidelines here so that the young researchers will be properly guided.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that comment. It's well taken and very important. Very important. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you, Professor Fashiku.
Thank you very much. I want to sincerely appreciate my prof, Professor Ayola, for this wonderful presentation. Thank you for your thoughts.
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that it's full of facts and evidences. I need to support you with just one clarification. When we talk about ethics, it's really not what is acceptable to the society that is taken as the standard of ethics. There are some standards that are universal. Universal criteria in deciding what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad. And so it doesn't depend on community, it doesn't depend on professional, it doesn't depend on persons. So it's just some universal rules. Utilitarianism, deontologism, those are universal criteria for measuring rights and wrongs. Again, I also like what you said about people not aggregating rightness or wrongness to what is acceptable to their own research. People should be careful in deciding rightness or wrongness. Just like the example you gave about people wanting to test whether a particular research output is right or wrong. Let's bring it to Africa, and then thank God that we have these checks and balances here. So I think we should just make these clarifications when you are putting the paper together again. That area of ethics, we need to just fine-tune it to show that there are universal criteria. And lastly, I'd like to ask whether through IPH we can have access to the full paper or even this PowerPoint, that we could also cascade what we have done into research in other areas, in humanities and other areas of research. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Prof.
Okay, question from the chat box.
Professor Fashiku. Okay, let me see at the chat box.
So question from the chat box from Abdullah. Whose responsibility is it to ensure ethical standard? What are some of the barriers accounting for lack of integrity? Every institution has their own standard. Is there ISO for ethical? Like ethical research ethics?
I see. Uh, uh, okay. Sorry. First question, please. First question, whose responsibility is it to maintain research integrity? Did I get you right?
Whose responsibility is it to ensure ethical standards?
Ethical standards, okay.
And what are some of the barriers accounting for lack of integrity?
Okay. Ethical standard. First and foremost, the fellow. All right. Your conscience. You know when you are doing right, when you're doing wrong. Sometimes for younger researchers, it's because they want to just finish their program, but they don't think about the implications of what you're doing. The thing is, you're going to wreak havoc to the lives or the quality of lives of people by conducting dishonest research. So first and foremost, I'll say the researcher. And then secondly, you have the supervisors. The supervisors are responsible for teaching, training, guiding, and monitoring the researcher. Afterwards, you have like for example, we have a university committee right now. We have a research office, ethical office that should be monitoring. Then we have the journals and the general scientific community. All right. So it is the whole scientific community that's responsible, even from people that are your readers, consumers. Those are the final consumers. They have the right to raise concerns about research. You can just have, if somebody reading an article can write a letter to the editor. I have some concerns about what you published so did. Would you please address? Even the readers. So it's a whole community of people that are responsible for maintaining ethical standards. And what are the barriers? I think I've discussed some of these barriers against maintaining integrity. Maintaining integrity, all right. The barriers primarily lie within the researcher himself. Why are you in research? All right. If you're in research to make money, and somebody offers you a bribe or settlement to publish some particular results when you haven't arrived at answers yet during your data collection phase, all right, your intention, your motive will act as a barrier to maintaining research integrity. Because the thing is, even without your supervisor knowing, the researcher can collect money. All right. This also gets to the level of the supervisors and also the community. All right. Okay. Did I
Yes, sir.
Hello? Okay,
Hello,
did I
sir.
respond well? Have the
So the
questions been
last
well
question
answered?
says that
Hmm?
every institution has their own standard. Is there
Mm-hmm.
ISO for ethical research ethics? Did you get that, sir?
Are you there?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can you hear
Okay,
me,
you
sir?
can. Okay, I can hear you. Is there what? Is there
Is there ISO for ethical research?
what's ISO? If I may ask, ISO. What's ISO?
Uh, can Abdullah unmute himself to clarify that?
Mm.
Hello.
Abdullah, and I'm excited with your presentation, and I want to seek some clearance with the standard, the international standard
Okay, so
Yes, yes,
it's the International Standard Organization.
yes,
Okay. Oh, well, there are some international organizations that have standards, and at least there are guidelines everywhere. The only thing is, do we have people that would enforce? There are guidelines everywhere. And the university has guidelines, but who would enforce? You understand? So the thing is, because nobody is enforcing, nobody is reading the guidelines, you are not aware that they are there except through channels of communication like this. That's why I charge people that even if you are not directly being overseen, you have your conscience to guide you. Even supervisors right now, they take more than they can handle. So how readily will they be able to supervise what is going on? But there are guidelines. It's only that do we bother to find out what's in the guidelines? Have I respond? Okay. All right. Any other question? Any other question?
Any IPH support still on the call? I think you can take over.
Okay.
IPH.
Head, um, I'm not.
And you can unmute me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, apologies.
Okay.
There's electricity problem now, and as it went off, internet went off, so I'm sure it affected IPH office. I personally want to thank Professor Ayola. That was brilliant, very brilliant, and I'm sure if we could stay on, there might just be a number of more questions. On behalf of IPH, I want to thank you, and looking forward to you coming back to discuss this further. For those online, thanks for being here and asking those stimulating questions. Please keep the conversation ongoing. I also want to highlight two things. Please know that for those of you on campus that the university has a guideline specifically focused on research integrity. In the university, the upholding the standards of research integrity is hosted by the Central Office of Research that describes this entirely. If it were possible, I should have looked for the soft copy and made it accessible. And it has rules and regulations managed by the Central Office of Research, independent of the Ethics Committee, despite the link between both issues, as Professor Ayola brilliantly highlighted. You can't bridge ethics and not have cross to research integrity, but here there are other issues around integrity that the university will have to uphold and monitor, and there are consequences defined by the university. And in defining that, there are gravities. The gravities differ per regulations broken. So right now, just as Professor Ayola might have highlighted, that in bridging ethics is a lot of conscience, but please note there are consequences when research integrity is undermined, including affecting promotion, including demoting, and including university suspension in some cases. Thank you once again. I'm sure IPH will be back. If not IPH, the university will be back to you Professor Ayala, to discuss this further, because this is a mainstay, like you already noted, as a global issue. I noted that on the call were other prominent people, DVC Research, thank you for being there. PG, Provost PG College, thanks for being there. And every other person, big, small, huge, large, please be here again when we call you. And Professor Fashiku, Professor Koya, every single person. I name every person, 42 persons still on the call. Thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Bye.